The federal government has announced quietly on Friday that by the year 2035, the federal debt in Canada will have reached, for the first time in history, $1 trillion. And Canada has never had a debt of up to $1 trillion. That's more America. And the federal government is also projecting deficits until at least 2040. And this is according to the federal government. This isn't according to the Iran Nation or anyone else. The federal government has issued this report. They try to do it discreetly, but the Toronto Sun has reported it, and now I'm reporting it, that by 2035, Canada's projected debt will be at $1 trillion, and we will be expecting deficits until at least 2040, and we could even have deficits beyond 2040. So this means that Canada's economy is just going deeper and deeper in a hole. Now, sometimes governments do this because they want to stimulate the economy. They want to create infrastructure and research and development, all that sort of stuff. But the thing is that I have done countless videos on the fact that the government of the long-haired Mac Daddy has cut on Canadians. He has cut the tax benefits for Canadians with diabetes. The long-haired Mac Daddy has cut the benefits, the tax benefits, given to Canadians with mental illness. The long-haired Mac Daddy just recently took away completely the special pay for elite soldiers who get injured and can't go to work within 180 days. They won't get that special payment. I did a video on that. That was my latest video. Submariners, Air Force pilots, those kind of people, if they're injured and can't show up to work within 180 days, their special pay gets taken away. They don't get paid. They could lose up to $23,000. So to add insult to injury, they get injured protecting our country, and then they go broke as a result. Who would want to join the Canadian military now? Who would want to do that? I'm actually thinking maybe the Canadian military should go on strike. I think nobody should even think about defending this country or working for the military until this is reversed. And you see how quickly Canadians get rid of this long-haired Mac Daddy. But then you're probably thinking, well, if we're doing all this cutting, how are we going to get into debt so much? Well, I've also made videos complaining about the fact that this government has given billions of our tax dollars to other nations. And not only that, they not only put other countries above this country, they're now using our tax dollars to create an ISIS rehabilitation and reintegration program. Now, you're saying, oh, well, everyone deserves a second chance. Okay, you can be an idiot and think that way, you stupid retard. But the fact is that when ISIS gets wind of this, they're going to send, ISIS people from Canada will just immediately go back. Some of them might genuinely want to be rehabilitated, but others will have evil intentions. They'll get access to Canada knowing they won't be punished. They'll pretend to be rehabilitated, and then when the government thinks that they're rehabilitated, they go on a train, blow the train up, run Canadians over with some truck. So that's a big waste of tax dollars right there. But the amount of money that this country gives to other countries, the first thing that the long-haired Mac Daddy did when he was elected was to give billions of our tax dollars to Indonesia to help them fix their infrastructure. The long-haired Mac Daddy, Justin Trudeau, he cut he took away the tax benefits for Canadians with diabetes and Canadians with mental illness. And the very next day, the news was announcing that the long-haired Mac Daddy's government was giving billions of dollars to African and Middle Eastern countries to help them with their food crisis. So mentally ill people in Canada and diabetics in Canada, they don't mean anything to the long-haired Mac Daddy, but countries, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, many of these countries hate us. Many of these countries hate our guts and the West in general, but they send their people over, which I'm not saying that's good, bad or good or whatever, but many of these countries that hate us, they're getting billions of our tax dollars to help them with their food crisis, even though many of these countries, especially in Africa, have so many resources that if they had brains, they could overtake the world if they wanted to. But we give them billions of our tax dollars, and we take away the benefits given to our diabetic and mentally ill people. In Northern Ontario, many natives are living with poisonous water. Literally, they cannot drink the water on their reserves. It's poisonous. They could die. They could be injured. The government hasn't spent a penny to fix the problem. Not one penny. But the government gives billions of dollars to other countries on a daily basis. I've done video after video after video on this. They've even given money to Russia, for crying out loud. What the hell does Russia need our money for? Talk about a Russian collusion. Let me read a little bit more of this article. I'm actually going to pin it on the comments, and people can go to the comments and read it. But it's like, it says Canada is on track to run a $10.4 billion deficit in 2040 and a $10.9 billion surplus in 2045. The table provides figures for every 5 years, suggesting the books will return to black sometime around 2042 if current trends continue. But what's really disturbing me is we are going to have a $1 trillion debt in 2035. That's crazy. $1 trillion? A country with only 36 million has a $1 trillion debt? That's like America. America, now I can understand America having that much debt because they have 360 million people? So yeah, they gotta feed them, they gotta clothe them, they gotta do all stuff, and they don't even do that anyway. Most of that is military debt. But Canada, for crying out loud, and the fact is that this debt is not stimulating our government. Yes, usually sometimes people will, remember the long-haired Mac Daddy said he'll do modest deficits, tiny deficits? Well, deficits that are going to be going on until 2040, that's not small deficits. How old the hell am I going to be? I'm 24 right now. I'm gonna have children who are in school by 2040, who are probably entering high school by then. I'll be an old man by then, middle-aged. I mean, this is all because of a Mac Daddy and his lies. And the thing is that, okay, if that money was being used to stimulate our economy, infrastructure and all that stuff, I can understand. But the long-haired Mac Daddy is cutting on Canadians. Don't you idiots understand this? He's taken away the benefits for diabetics. He's taken away the benefits for mentally ill people. He's taken away the special pay given to our veterans, our special veterans who are injured and can't return to work within 180 days. He is not fixing the problem of poisonous, contaminated waters on native reserves. In Canada, there are schools right now, as I'm speaking, that don't even have cafeterias. Why not stimulate the education economy? Every school in Canada should have a cafeteria. Do that. I would support that. But we're giving billions of dollars to other countries We're giving billions of dollars into a program, a farcical program that's meant to try and rehabilitate and reintegrate ISIS terrorists, when most of these people are just going to take advantage of the situation to gain access to this country and pretend to be rehabilitated. And then when they're done, when the government is done with them, they just go back to their old ways. I mean, this is, I don't even know. But Canadians have a problem. And I've come to the conclusion that just like you can't put sickle cell anemia into a German or a Danish or a Russian, you cannot put you cannot put patriotism in a Canadian. Because at this very moment, it seems that the Liberals are still ahead in the polls. Now, maybe the pollsters are just polling Liberals, but I don't know if that's true or not. I want to believe, I don't know. Canadians seem to be willing to put up with so much crap. It's inferior. Now, I'm not saying Canadians are inferior. Canadians have done a lot for this world. They can do what? But one thing Canadians can't do is be patriotic, because no other country would put up with going into $1 trillion debt, even though your government is cutting services for your people and giving billions of dollars to other countries. No other country would allow that. None. Not in Europe, not in America, nowhere. Nowhere. Except this country. This is sad. This is really sad. This is the Irana Nation. I want to wish all my subscribers and people who view my videos a Merry, Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday, and I'll see you in the new year.